Down at 50 yards, I've got my new Rimfire sight-in target. This thing is really cool. The only time I shot paper targets was when I was sighting in. I mean, that's kind of what you have to do. It's difficult on steel targets to have precise points of aim, and so you just default to paper targets. I like leaving my steel set up, and the paper targets, every time I come out, I want to use it. Steel's ready to rock, but my paper targets were always soggy, blown off in the South Dakota wind, what have you. So I came up with, actually I didn't come up with this. This was an idea of a customer who came to me with this. I think it's pretty clever though. Why not use little holes in the steel to be a point of aim for your rifle to shoot at? Now, with center fire rifles, the splash is a pretty big area from the bullet, so I don't think this concept will work out so well for that. But I've been shooting a lot of rimfire lately, having a blast with it, and this target is great for rimfire. So why don't you check it out in action? The hole spacing is 2 inches on center. The holes are, I can't remember off the top of my head, it'll be in the product description, but they're just smaller than a 17 caliber bullet, so this will be good for all rimfire. And that way you can't claim you sent one all the way through. It's physically impossible. It will not go through the hole and not hit the target. So, one more thing. You can hang it like a traditional gong with like my double hook AR500 hook hanging kits, or a T-post mount, or the double hook 2x4 mount. You can hang this in a number of ways, you know, just like a traditional gong with the 2 bigger outer holes. But with the popularity of NRL 22 and this being a great target for that kind of a setup, I made it compatible with my Rimfire stake base. So it's got a narrow slot right in the middle, so it'll just slide right over my stake base. Right now I've got it on my, my single hook stake base down there. I have it on my leg edition kit just because that's what I run. It's really handy to set those up. But that slot is tight on there, so it keeps the target from wiggling back and forth. I know I was at an NRLX match and they had a sight-in target. Well, there was only one hole in the middle, and every time somebody would shoot at it, the thing would start twisting, and you'd have to wait a long time for it to settle down to get a decent shot. So I made this specifically so that wouldn't be a problem, and it's a great target to sight in your 22s on. So check it out in action. So aiming right for that middle dot. All right, so these are about 3/10 to the left. So I'm just gonna hold my correction and see if I can't get it right in that bullseye. All right, that's all 10 rounds. So that was all right there in that that little center hole. 50 yards with my 22, I can see it plain as day. So it's not a problem with, that hole plugging up with lead. Now, I'm not gonna say you won't have the perfect scenario and you might be able to plug up one of those with lead eventually, but there's how many holes on the target and you'll just be able to go up and poke it right out. So that's not gonna be a concern. I'm gonna go get a few more rounds and show you what it looks like when I hit it on the outside. All right, here we go. Got it loaded back up. Let's see what it looks like when I shoot the outside targets. There we go. Oh, did you hear that? I sent one almost perfectly through that hole. I heard it tink lightly and I seen it move, but I sent that sucker almost perfectly through that hole. Obviously, the bullet diameter is bigger than the hole, so there's no such possibility as it going all the way through, but that's about as perfect as I can get it. That's what, as close as you could get to it going through that hole without touching anything. So obviously impossible, not gonna happen, but pretty cool to have that happen nonetheless with the just barely nicking it like that. But the key here is that if you had multiple people sighting in on this target, they could each pick a dot and they could be shooting at it, and you don't have to wait a long time for the target to settle down. It isn't swinging all over, it isn't twisting, more importantly, which is why it fits so tightly on that stake base. So this is an awesome target. I'm really glad that gentleman gave me the idea, because that is pretty darn cool. I'm so glad I finally don't have to shoot any paper anymore. That warms my heart. Oh, thanks for checking out the video. You can find this product and a ton of other really cool stuff at atlastargetworks.com.